I believe it was in 2022 when I made a video calling out Min Heejin and the ADOR team for gaslighting the public into feeling bad about raising concerns on minors singing a song about inviting strangers into their home to quote-unquote come and take a lookie at their cookie. I broke down how the statement basically said what my mother would call an infinity deal of nothing, aka many words with little to no value. And when it came to the important accusation itself, their main tactic was to insinuate that the public was the problem for automatically thinking that this was wrong. While a majority of people who watched the video somewhat agreed with me, some genuinely thought that maybe I was looking too much into it, that maybe it wasn't as deep, and Min Heejin was just tone deaf and clueless. But considering the events, I can now say something I've stated so many times on this channel and I've lost count. I told you so. The internal affairs and struggles between HYBE, BLIFT Lab, and ADOR have now reached high levels of tension and are now seeping into the public. We're being pulled back and forth with information, public statements, and several opinions just flying everywhere. To make this less muddled for you, I decided to break down this video into three main parts. The first part will address the issues between HYBE and ADOR. The second will look into breaking down the statement put out by ADOR concerning this matter. And then finally, some hard-hitting questions that need to be answered on why this could have happened, how this happened, and how this might affect the future. In the last section, I might play a little bit of devil's advocate. I'm giving you a heads up because plenty of people who run into my channel do not like that. So just giving you a heads up. Starting with ADOR's side of the story, Min Heejin claimed she raised concerns to both BLIFT Lab and HYBE when the promotional pictures of ILLIT's debut came out. She says that she started by seeing many comparisons online to New Jeans, with fans calling it Min Heejin style or Min Heejin type. The narcissism in that statement, but I digress. They say that part of the reason why they confronted HYBE and not just BLIFT is because of the involvement of Hitman Bang in the production of the album. They continue their grievances by stating that they feel as if everything from hair and makeup to outfits, music videos, promotional photos, and choreography, down to even event appearances, is being copied, therefore making things harder not just for New Jeans as a group who are about to have a comeback, but for their fans as well. Min Heejin states that she doesn't want New Jeans to be associated with illit, and that this association is causing the girl group to be spoken about before the promotion of their comeback begin. ADOR goes on to claim that despite raising concerns more than once, both HYBE and BLIFT Lab have done nothing but make excuses to avoid taking accountability and offering an apology. Then they continue to say that it was because of their need to dodge responsibility in this situation that they've pulled this narrative, which they're calling a media play, to remove Min Heejin from her CEO position. HYBE's issues with Min Heejin, though, are completely left field to what they have spoken up about. According to HYBE, their request for Min Heejin to leave her position is due to information and allegations from an anonymous tip they received claiming that she's been taking steps to breach their contract by trading insider business information to investors so that they persuade HYBE into relinquishing their shares on ADOR and giving Min Heejin complete control of the company. To clarify, HYBE owns 80% of ADOR shares while Min Heejin controls the remaining 20%. HYBE is also seeking clarification from another ADOR executive who's being referred to as Mr. A, which, side note, he used to work for HYBE and then transitioned to ADOR. They claim that he and Min Heejin played a key role in the attempted management rights seizure, the leaking of trade secrets, and irregular personnel solicitations by their management overall. It is claimed that ADOR quote-unquote consulted with security analysis, overseas investment consulting firms, private equity funds, and venture capitalists while leaking details of their contract with HYBE. As if that wasn't enough, they allegedly conducted underground ways to increase the negative perception of HYBE's artists, which in turn would cause pressure to increase from the artist's parents onto HYBE. I suggest you get comfortable because it gets worse. There are also allegations that personal details, including photos and health information of not only artists, but literal trainees are being leaked. In addition to that, they claim that personal information of staff, including hiring processes, were leaked too. HYBE states that this was all planned from the beginning of the year, with the main plan being smearing HYBE's public image, hoping to set the stage for ADOR to take over the 80% of the shares into their own personal management. In short form, it's a fucking shit show. Now, there's a reason why I haven't said HYBE has proof or receipts, and the reason for that is, as of public knowledge, they do not exist. They've sent an audit to Min Heejin and Mr. A for clarification, but there's no hardcore proof or evidence, to our knowledge anyway, that this happened. However, if it is proven true and the receipts are found for this, there will be serious consequences for both Min Heejin and Mr. A. Career-ending consequences. And this could reflect badly on ADOR's management in general. So these allegations are not small. Now it's time to talk about ADOR's statement. The tactic they used here is not too far from their address on the cookie backlash. Basically, it was just gaslighting. As I've stated on this channel before, gaslighting is a form of psychological manipulation in which one tries to alter the reality of another through underhanded tactics such as undermining one's feelings, maximizing unnecessary detail, and more in order to cause confusion, which in turn gains them power and control of a particular narrative. ADOR's statement this time was focused around minimizing HYBE's concerns while maximizing a minuscule issue in order to control the public opinion on HYBE and BLIFT's latest group, illit. This in turn will take the focus off the allegations against her, which include possible criminal activity. The first line of this is the total of 10 paragraphs, no, not an exaggeration, in which ADOR do nothing but complain about the copying of their girl group's concept when the real issue at hand are the allegations against your management. They start off by stating, in a very shady statement by the way, claiming that illit is copying New Jeans. Think about it. illit copying New Jeans versus BLIFT copying ADOR. This is subtle but smart. A more professional way of saying that statement would have been BLIFT is imitating ADOR's concept for their new girl group. But putting the girl group's names in the forefront, they are using a fan war to gain control of the public narrative. More importantly, apart from that fan war, illit was already in the spotlight negatively because of complaints from both NMIXX and Lisa Stans about their fandom name. ADOR is basically taking a fan war and weaponizing it against HYBE, hoping that fans will take their side in this very unprofessional and childish claim. This at the same time throws illit under the bus, making them targets of more hate from the public and pedestaling New Jeans over them in hopes that they won't be viewed as competition. My issue with the copying allegation starts with the fact that illit are not the first group to imitate New Jeans. Plenty have done that before them, and those groups were attacked by New Jeans fans as well. Even non-fans like me claim that New Jeans was practically impacting the way this generation is producing music. Min Heejin must have known that, and despite this, she did not launch any complaints about these cases. The imitation from other groups makes New Jeans looks good. She must know that from her time in SM Town, as she's the one who spearheaded the idea of group concepts in the first place, and receiving high praise for it numerous times. That is how she ended up gaining her reputation in South Korea. Complaining about this now, when she's facing very serious allegations, just comes off as a pathetic attempt to divert the conversation. Adding on to that, New Jeans' concept is not new to this world. It's simply bringing back the early 2000s style in both music and visuals, and adding a few creatives here and there. For instance, if you look at the similarities between New Jeans' Attention music video to the Japanese girl group Speed's Body and Soul music video, and her work on Ditto in comparison to the Japanese director Shunji Iwai's films, it's safe to say that Min Heejin is the last person to be talking about copying anybody. In fact, as it turns out, there have been a lot of conversations amongst Japanese fans on the inspiration behind her concept for New Jeans. So for her to turn around and complain about this just feels shady. Next, and probably more frustrating, is the idea that ADOR doesn't want New Jeans to be associated with illit. Again, I did not see these complaints from them when New Jeans was being associated with BTS for an entire year straight by several articles. If she made a complaint, I have never seen it. It seems when associations benefit New Jeans, she has no issue. But as soon as someone is seen as competition, suddenly we have a problem. It is also annoying that somehow ADOR found a way to spin this into concerns about their own fans, which is not surprising considering that NMIXX and Lisa fans have complained about being affected by BLIFT's choice of a fandom name. They've taken advantage of that situation to try and turn bunnies into victims of BLIFT's choices as well. Furthermore, if they're as attentive to their fandom as they claim they are, they would know how much that fandom relishes in these conversations. They literally start the fan wars and arguments about imitation just so all the glory can go to New Jeans. How is this supposed to be a concern for the fandom? The so-called fatigue that they claim the fans are having does not exist. Complaining about New Jeans being brought up when they aren't promoting is also another stupid tactic to make their statement look so long and thought out. K-pop is an incredibly saturated market, especially now. Having a girl group being talked about all year is not an issue. It is an advantage and a testament to the dominance that they have in the industry. I'm not sure what ADOR was trying to claim. Maybe it was lost in translation, but right now what they're saying does not make sense at all. Again, their CEO has been in the industry long enough to know how these complaints do not hold water. The claim that gets me probably the most is the accusation that HYBE only did this because they care about short-term profits and money. So, like ADOR and every other K-pop company under the sun. Is that your claim? That HYBE is just like everyone else? Is this new information? Nothing about this is of any use to the current situation that we're dealing with right now. Why try to get the public to hate HYBE for something no company is exempt from? HYBE and just about everyone else has been criticized for putting profit and money before idols. And yes, I will acknowledge it is an issue, but that's not what this is about right now. Claiming that HYBE is mass producing unoriginality has got to be the biggest joke of the 21st century, as ADOR is practically doing the same thing. Nothing about New Jeans is original, girl. What's your point? The worst part of this entire statement is the way they address these allegations. If ADOR did not want to go into detail, they should not have addressed them at all. Instead, they chose to address them in combination with this copying issue so casually, and it feels as if they just did not want the public to take them seriously as they should, which has caused all sorts of alarm bells for me. Because in my personal opinion, it just feels as if they would rather have the public drag their copying complaints and distract them from talking about the stuff that matters, which is why they did not shed light on them properly in the first place. It feels like an underhanded tactic to manipulate us. I'm starting to wonder if that is why she's dragged so many groups like Rise and BTS and gone as far as to claim that she is to credit for all of Hitman Bang's success. This feels like a distraction to drag other fandoms to join into the fighting and keep them from focusing on the fact that she is under very serious scrutiny right now. Question 1. Does Min Heejin have the right to want total control of ADOR? Well, for one, she spearheaded the trend of bringing back the early 2000s, and New Jeans are as popular as they are right now. So on that ground, you could argue that she is allowed to feel entitled to that. With that being said, there's the fact that the financial effort, along with the clout for the girl group, came from being associated with HYBE more than her reputation that she built for herself when she was in SM. So underhandedly wanting to control this company in just like a year of New Jeans' debut, it feels like the success has gotten to her head and it makes her look greedy and money hungry. And again, that is if the allegations are true. 2. Would Min Heejin have a problem with illit had they not been so successful? I would guess that maybe no. I've seen so many people try to downplay how big illit is getting, but if it is true that it is out of jealousy that illit is becoming New Jeans' competition, I can't say I don't see why. As of now, illit are the second girl group in history to achieve a perfect all-kill with a debut song after Blackpink. They're also the second longest running girl group with a debut song at #1 on Melon chart, and if they continue, in 4 days, they break New Jeans' record. They're also the first K-pop group to enter the Billboard Hot 100 with a debut song. They're also the fastest girl group to do so in general, breaking 50/50's record. illit also have the most streamed Spotify song this year with over 100 million streams. They're also the fastest girl group to gain that many streams on Spotify with a debut song. Their album Super Real Me became a K-pop debut album with the highest first week streams, breaking New Jeans' record by a whopping 7 million plays. They're the fastest K-pop group in history to surpass 1 million monthly listeners, and they're currently sitting at 13.5. Their song has 8 music show wins, making them the third group with the most music show wins for a debut song after IVE and ITZY. He currently sits at the top of the list of the individual brand ranking of the month of April. Minju is currently being called the 5th generation visual. Their song Magnetic features in almost 500,000 posts on both TikTok and Instagram, and all of this is happening in a space of 1 month. Yeah, if I was Min Heejin, I'd be salty too. If that statement wasn't an attempt to cover up the issue with the allegations, it feels like a salty dig because illit would probably be the first group to imitate New Jeans' style and successfully become competition because of it. Question 3. Did HYBE and BLIFT purposefully pick this concept knowing that there would become strong competition for New Jeans? Honestly, I would not put it past them. Business is brutal like that, and if they did this on purpose to undermine Min Heejin's success with New Jeans, I would not be surprised. The concept is so loved right now, and the creative directing is highly praised by critics. So, if BLIFT and HYBE chose this route, knowing full well that it would impact New Jeans' dominance in the market, I wouldn't be shocked. Maybe it's a sign that they simply never trusted Min Heejin and expected her to demand a separation from HYBE at some point due to New Jeans' success, and maybe they were just trying to be a step ahead of her. Question 4, and probably the most important question, is this going to affect New Jeans' reputation? If the allegations are true, probably yes. New Jeans is preparing for a comeback right now, and as if it wasn't a problem that illit is at the top of the food chain as competition, this controversy with Min Heejin is probably to some recognizable degree going to affect that. The timing of this controversy couldn't have come at a worse time. Maybe HYBE kind of felt like due to the seriousness of the allegations, they couldn't wait until after the comeback to deal with this issue. However, playing a little bit of devil's advocate, I cannot wonder if maybe they did this to their advantage, right? If Min Heejin's allegations are true, this puts New Jeans in a tough spot reputation-wise, simultaneously making illit victims. Well, technically illit are victims because Min Heejin is trying to use them to shield her nonsense, but the reputation will probably spike in South Korea, and they will want to replace their love for New Jeans with their love for illit. I've been seeing the comments, trust me, just putting it out there. 5. Is it possible that HYBE made up the allegations and they are as baseless as Min Heejin claims they are? Now, because I'm not a mind reader, yes. But using common sense, there would be a very slim chance that would be true. Because, I mean, just using logic, the idea that HYBE would cook up such a story with allegations this serious just to avoid a 5-letter word is both stupid and absurd, right? I mean, Min Heejin literally claims that that is the reason for these allegations. But to lie that someone is leaking information of trainees who are possibly minors, amongst other things, just to avoid responsibility, sounds like a huge risk that I don't think HYBE is stupid enough to want to incur right now. Or ever. Question 6. Considering the relationship Min Heejin has with New Jeans members and their parents, could this turn into a 50-50 2.0? I don't know. Min Heejin emphasized at the beginning of New Jeans' careers how much the girls' parents trusted her and the relationship that she built with both the girls and their parents. So it is possible that they could stand by her and defend her, which, unfortunately, if these claims are true, would probably make Korea turn their backs on them. But then again, there's a chance that the parents are smart enough to just sit back and let this play out. Hopefully, they're doing the latter. In conclusion, I told you so. Min Heejin can never be trusted. I hope New Jeans fans remember that we did try to warn them about this woman. They attacked us and claimed that we were jealous of New Jeans and their success, when in reality, our concern was for the members of New Jeans. That's why we questioned Min Heejin's behavior. The fact that ADOR tried to gaslight the public into thinking that a fan war of copying New Jeans holds merit with these issues is really pathetic. And I hope this time around, bunnies are smart enough to recognize it. And as for the idea that Hitman Bang is only successful by copying her,
bitch, you better be joking.